A driver plows into a crowd outside a Los Angeles nightclub, injuring dozens. Venezuela releases 10 jailed Americans, and President Trump files a $10 billion lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal. Plus, In-N-Out is packing up its California headquarters and heading for Tennessee. And here's your trivia question for the day. Which food item is found in 68% of U.S. freezers? It's Sunday, July 20th, and this is the Flyover Podcast. Welcome to the Flyover Podcast, taking you above the noise for an unbiased, high-altitude view of today's headlines with daily coverage that's honest and refreshing. Let's cruise the news and land the facts. Hi, I'm Amy Hess, your weekend host, and I hope you're having a great Sunday, whether you're headed to church, catching your breath before the week starts, or just soaking in a little quiet time. We've got the news you need to know, so let's get right to it. Get ready for takeoff. Let's take a look at the biggest stories making headlines this Sunday. First, a chaotic scene in Los Angeles early Saturday after a driver plowed into a crowd waiting outside a nightclub on Santa Monica Boulevard. 30 people were injured, 7 critically and 6 in serious condition. Witnesses say bystanders pulled the driver from the vehicle and attacked him before police arrived. Officers later found the driver had been shot. The suspect reportedly ran from the scene and remains at large. Meanwhile, Venezuela has released 10 jailed U.S. citizens and residents in a 3-country agreement involving the United States and El Salvador. Among those freed was former Navy SEAL Wilbert Joseph Castaneda, who'd been detained during personal travel. The U.S. has warned Americans against traveling to Venezuela or near its borders, citing the risks of wrongful detention. The swap also included more than 250 Venezuelan migrants previously deported to El Salvador under a 2024 U.S. immigration policy. Many of them had been held in a high-security prison and were believed to be affiliated with the violent Tren de Aragua street gang. The U.S. Embassy in Venezuela shared a photo of the freed Americans. If you'd like to see that image, we've linked it in today's show notes. And finally, President Trump has filed a $10 billion defamation lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal's publisher. He alleges the outlet falsely connected him to Jeffrey Epstein in a recent article describing a lewd birthday letter Epstein once received. At the same time, the Justice Department is asking a court to unseal grand jury records related to Epstein's 2019 sex trafficking case, which ended with his death while in custody. Today's episode is sponsored by Native Hydrate. Most people know that staying hydrated is essential to nearly every bodily function, but 75% of Americans still don't consume enough fluid daily. As we age, natural body changes make staying hydrated even harder, especially without artificial additives or excess sugars. That's where Native Path comes in with extra help. Native Path's Hydrate is not just another drink mix. It's a thoughtfully designed formula packed with BCAAs and all 9 essential amino acids to help with muscle recovery and overall vitality. Plus, it's completely sugar-free and 100% natural. With their Native Path Hydrate product, you can fuel your body with essential electrolytes at the cellular level for overall vitality. Unlike other hydration drink mixes that are designed for marathon runners and contain upwards of 1,000 milligrams of sodium, Native Hydrate contains just 230 milligrams. For optimal daily hydration, it's free of artificial flavors, sugars, and dyes. It's only 5 calories per serving, and every order comes with a 365-day money-back guarantee, so you can try it risk-free. Visit nativehydrate.com/flyover or click the link in the show notes. Now, here are some extra stories just for you, our podcast listener. You won't find these in the email. First up, Democrats at this week's Hill Nation Summit offered some rare and carefully worded praise for Donald Trump's political approach as they regroup from major losses in 2024. Congressman Ro Khanna of California called Trump a very talented politician, even as he emphasized their ideological differences. Congressman Jim Himes of Connecticut, the top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee, credited aspects of Trump's foreign policy, including what he called a practical approach in the Middle East. The remarks come as the Democrats look ahead to the 2026 midterms, aiming to cut into Republicans' narrow 220 to 212 majority in the House. Next, best-selling author and entrepreneur Luis Vargas said the popular phrase, "follow your passion," might actually be hurting more careers than it helps. In a recent interview, Vargas argued that passion alone can lead to burnout or financial instability, especially if it's not paired with useful skills. Instead, he recommends focusing on building value and mastering a craft. Passion is the result of mastery, he said, not the starting point. And finally, a tragic accident at a New York imaging center. A man died after being pulled into an MRI machine by a metal chain he was wearing, officials confirmed. The incident occurred at a local imaging center when the magnetic force of the machine attracted the metal accessory. The victim, reportedly accompanying a relative, entered the scan room while the machine was active. Still to come, the Eagles show off their new Super Bowl rings. Ronald Acuna Jr. stuns the crowd with a 300-foot throw, and Rashee Rice gets jail time and a likely suspension. But first, let's take a look at what's happening in finance. First, Microsoft has made a key change to its global operations, cutting off technical support from engineers in China to its U.S. defense clients. The move is aimed at reducing national security risks tied to sensitive communications. Next, a partnership between nuclear firm TerraPower and AtkinsRéalis Isotech has led to a breakthrough process that extracts a rare component from nuclear material as a promising tool in cancer treatment. And finally, private equity giant Blackstone is pulled out of a consortium looking to invest in TikTok's U.S. operations. The exit comes as regulatory uncertainty continues to cloud the platform's future in the U.S. market. All right, let's take a quick look at how the markets wrapped up last week. The Nasdaq posted solid gains, up 1.47%. The S&P 500 also ended the week higher, rising 0.67%. The Dow Jones was flat, dipping just 0.01%. Bitcoin slipped nearly 1%, while gold edged down about 0.5% to close at $3,353 per ounce. All right, let's check in on what's making headlines in the world of sports. First, the Philadelphia Eagles have received their Super Bowl rings, and they're just as bold as you'd expect. You can see a photo in today's show notes. Next, Braves outfielder Ronald Acuna Jr. made headlines with a 301-foot throw to gun down a runner tagging from second. And finally, Chiefs receiver Rashee Rice has been sentenced to 30 days in jail and 5 years probation for a 2023 car crash. The NFL is expected to issue a suspension. Coming up, your poll results and the answer to our trivia question. But first, here's a few more stories you need to know before we land this thing. All right, let's hit a few fast-moving headlines. First up, the Naval Academy has reassigned its first female superintendent, Vice Admiral Yvette Davids. She's being moved to a new role on the Chief of Naval Operations Staff and will be replaced by the Academy's first Marine Corps general. Next, 2 NYPD officers and volunteer firefighters rushed into a burning home in Queens, kicking down doors to rescue trapped residents. You can see the body cam footage and read more about the rescue. We've linked it in today's show notes. And finally, In-N-Out is moving its corporate headquarters from California to Franklin, Tennessee. Heiress Lindsay Snyder said the decision was driven by family values and the challenges of doing business in California. Now it's time for Pole Position, where we turn the mic over to you. Yesterday we asked, should Alcatraz reopen as a federal prison? Here's how you voted. 48% said yes, 20% said they don't care, 18% want it to stay a tourist attraction, and 14% said no. I visited Alcatraz many years ago on a trip to San Francisco. Have you ever been? If so, what did you think? Let me know in the comments section. All right, here's today's question. Which French fry cut do you prefer? Your options are standard, curly, waffle, steak, or other. Honestly, I guess I'd have to say other because I usually get sweet potato fries, but if that was not an option, I'd probably go with steak fries. They just taste more like real potatoes to me. All right, cast your vote by clicking the link in our show notes. And now for today's trivia question. Which food item is found in 68% of U.S. freezers? Drum roll, please. It's ice cream. A recent survey found ice cream is the most common frozen food in American homes, especially in the summer, when 45% of people say they enjoy it more. Ice cream sounds pretty good. All right, that's a wrap for this Sunday edition of The Flyover. Thanks for spending part of your weekend with me, and if you haven't already, be sure to follow and sign up for our email edition at jointheflyover.com so you never miss a headline. Ayla Brown will be back with you Monday for your weekday travels, and I'll see you next weekend. Until then, enjoy your Sunday, and as always, thanks for flying with us.